But right now, very excited to have Archbishop Council Nedd. He is the co-chairman and a charter member of Project 21, which is a Black leadership network, specifically sort of looking at a different way of approaching the needs of the African-American community in America, and maybe some new ideas that aren't the same old thing we've seen from the usual suspects. I hope I described what you guys do over Project 21 properly, Council Nedd. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, that sounded accurate.
All right. Well, tell me about this new report you guys have released.
Well, I'm pretty excited about it, actually. This is one of the first years in a while that I've been this excited about one of our Project 21 projects. And we put together a blueprint essentially outlining 10 public policy areas where the Black community, the African-American community in the United States can be positively affected. And it ranges from areas to faith-based issues, criminal justice reform, improving relationships between the police and communities, various economic subjects, and also it includes some welfare reform.
And by the way, you along with our friend Stacey Washington, who had been a fill-in host on this program for quite some time, actually, and is a good friend, and Horace Cooper have sort of spearheaded this effort for Project 21, right? And I mean, is it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is it?
We're the three co-chairs for Project 21, and like I said, I'm pretty excited about this. Let's
talk through, because you have 12 points, and I want to be able to get through all of them here. These recommendations that you've made, if we can. I'll start first. Promoting K through 12 educational choice. So choice meaning allowing parents to be able to put their kids in non-public schools?
Right. Allow parents to send their kids to the best school in their community. I worked on Capitol Hill for a bunch of years, and I wrote and did a lot of policy stuff on school choice. And then when I left Capitol Hill, 2004, 2005, I taught in a charter school because I wanted to actually see what it was firsthand, and I wanted an opportunity to give back. And the fact is, charter schools, if they don't perform, get shut down. Public schools, if they don't perform, they continue to function, and continue to get funding and continue to put out kids and read their diplomas. So we need other options than what currently exists in a lot of the inner city communities in terms of trying to find good educational opportunities for children of parents.
Well, God knows we've seen that in the Washington, D.C. area where they just keep throwing money at the public system and it's just deteriorating. The corruption there, I mean, we're with you on that. You say improve higher education. How right now do you think higher education is not really assisting the African-American community in the way that they should?
Well, I think there's a broader educational issue. So you've got I taught at a charter school in Washington, D.C., and they said that we want 100% college acceptance for our students.
Uh-huh.
The fact was, and I got in trouble for saying this, but a lot of our students weren't prepared for college. And I told them exactly what was going to happen. They didn't necessarily like it. So these kids would get accepted to a college with marginal credentials or, not the most exclusive schools, but they would get accepted to these schools. They would fail out, and then they'd end up with a whole bunch of debt. That there's never any real possibility or intention of paying back.
Gotcha.
We do a disservice to students that way by telling non-college prepared students that, yes, you can go to college and you can succeed, whereas there are lots of options out there for people who aren't college ready. There are lots of better paying jobs for people who don't want to go to college.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. I love that. It's something we talk about a lot here. You also focus here on reducing black unemployment with some pretty interesting ideas, although, by the way, it should be pointed out that under President Trump in the first year and a half, black unemployment is at record low, but you want to do more, and that involves including welfare reform and work requirements as something that the president's discussed, but then waiving the minimum wage. This is interesting and somewhat controversial. Explain how this would work.
Yeah, okay, I'm not the best person to talk about this, but, the fact is, since President Trump came into office, unemployment's decreased across the board. And so obviously, a rising tide raises all ships, so that includes the black community. But if you pair that sort of with welfare reform efforts, so there are lots of individuals who are collecting welfare who just aren't working as opposed to can't work, too infirm to work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But finding opportunities for those people to actually work, get them back in the workforce, because there are lots of people who don't have jobs that want jobs. most people don't want to be on the public dole because it also comes with strings attached. But most people don't want to be on the public dole. But then also, if you are going to be on the public dole, I think we have an obligation to the taxpayers, to the citizenry, but then also to the individual's family to make sure that if you're on welfare, that you're not doing drugs. You're not spending money at the casino that you should be spending for bread and milk for your family.
Yeah. And by the way, our guest here is Archbishop Counsel Nedd. He is a co-chairman and charter member of Project 21 Black Leadership Network, talking about some outside-the-box ideas, some ideas to help the African-American community in this country that you won't hear from Democrats, you won't hear from Al Sharpton, you won't hear from all the regular players in this realm. And by the way, because of that, you're not getting a whole lot of media coverage on this. Have you noticed that they love talking to Maxine Waters about how to help the black community, but why aren't you getting enough airtime there on television?
Well, I mean, there are lots of people who have open minds and actually think through the processes of things, like yourself, who say, you know what, there's something to this. Just because, our groups come out with this, they're going to be opposed to it. But the fact is, if you talk to most black Americans, they're going to be in agreement with probably 90% of what's in our blueprint. Yeah. It's the politicians, it's the hucksters standing on the soapboxes, who are going to be opposed to it and who are opposed to some of these ideas because it sort of undercuts their authority and undercuts, their sources of income.
Yeah, well, exactly. There's a money play here. You're not asking for a bunch of federal dollars in this list, and you're also asking that African-American communities are actually empowered on the individual basis and within faith-based groups and communities. That decentralizes that power and control that Washington, D.C. has over them, and that's a dangerous idea. I love it. Thanks for joining us, Counsel Nedd.
Thanks so much for having me on.
All your friends over there at Project 21. Love it.